So Emily, maybe you should just answer this question, give your thoughts.
Sure. I'll start with the easy one, which is what were mine. In high school, I was primarily an athlete. I competed in gymnastics for 14 years, and I also competed in track for 8 years. So I spent, the vast majority of my time after school doing athletics. On the weekends, I spent a little bit of time involved with my community service through my church. But I was mostly an Asian athlete. I think, what was the other? Sorry, the question.
Is it better to stick with
spread
one?
yourself thin? Right. So, and also what happens if you're not very good at something? So, I think it's important. It's more important, I would say, to have something that you love doing and that you're excited about and motivated to do better in and improve yourself in than it is to do something that you're already really good at. And I would say that it doesn't matter on an absolute scale. You're not the best person at the particular activity that you love. But if you've been able to show that you are so motivated to learn how to do it, that you've been committed to mastering something difficult and challenging for you, I actually think that shows great strength of character, and it's a very interesting story. So I would advocate to go after the things that you're passionate about, as opposed to necessarily the things that you're good at. And in terms of spreading yourself thin versus kind of committing to something, I think I don't want to give an answer, because I think that different people will take different paths, and both can be very successful. There are a lot of people who are going to try a bunch of different things because they're just curious, and maybe that's the characteristic about themselves that sets them apart. There are other people who are going to be more like I was and be very committed to a particular sport and train your entire life for it, and that is an admirable quality as well. And so I think there are multiple paths to success.
I'm going to ask you a question, Stephanie. These are questions related to financial aid. I gave you one earlier. Somebody wanted to know financial aid specifically at Emory. And another person asked, what kind of financial support can a student hope for from top private universities? This person also asked, how can I properly estimate the chance to get into a university of my dream? And should I just give it a shot? But the answer is, yeah, give it a shot. But the other thing is, do the research, go online. Most universities can show you our U.S. News and World Report. Also, there are different ways to actually see what the average GPA or SAT is. And I say regardless, give it a shot. But can you give a brief answer about financial aid?
And I'm going to speak more specifically about Emory, just because it's what I know. But I can tell you that a lot of our peer schools have similar type programs that we have. So the financial aid piece, the most important thing I can say to you is anybody who's a U.S. citizen or a permanent alien can receive financial aid. So parents, please file your taxes, please. That is very important. Even if you're a parent, if you're an undocumented parent, you can still file taxes, and if your student is a naturalized citizen or a native citizen or a permanent alien, they can still receive financial aid in any of the universities that they're going to go to, like Emory or like peer institutions. So please, please file your taxes and start doing it now. So if you do file your taxes, what you can do at Emory, for example, is you have 2 different forms that you have to fill out. You have to fill out the FAFSA, which is the free application by the federal government. That comes out in January every year, and it's going to ask information about your family and your income and what you make and just tax questions. And also after that, you have to fill out the CSS profile, which I know Vanderbilt has, I know Emory has, and I'm sure other peer institutions do. That's going to ask more specific questions. For example, do you have other children that are in a private school right now? That's going to affect how much you can contribute to your next child's education. So it's going to ask more specific questions like that. And then finally, we ask that the tax returns be filed electronically through a system called iDoc. So all 3 of those documents are looked at to create what they just determine as the earned family contribution, what the family can contribute to a child's education. And they subtract that into whatever our tuition, room, and full cost is. And whatever the difference is what your financial aid award will look like. That can be in various different types of ways. It can be grant money, which is free money given to you. It's like a scholarship. It's money you don't have to pay back, but it's based off of the need that you have. So at Emory last year, for our students that had grants, an average grant was about $30,000. of money that is given per year for the 4 years for those students. That's average. We also have loans that we give out through the government and a lot of work-study opportunities. So at Emory, for example, 2/3 of our students are on some type of financial aid or need. So we really meet 100% of what the family's demonstrated financial need is. And there's a lot of programs out there, even at Emory, for example. If a family makes less than $50,000, through our Emory Advantage program, you can go to Emory for free without owing a single cent in all 4 years. If your family makes between $150,000, you can go to Emory and owe only $15,000 in loans after 4 years. For a school that costs $56,000, that's a really good deal. So that is at Emory, and I know Vanderbilt offers a similar type of help, grant money-wise, and other schools do too. I would assume maybe possibly Princeton and Duke as well. So there is opportunities out there on websites. The government has required that all private schools have what's called a net price calculator on our financial aid websites. That net price calculator asks you very brief questions to get and it'll give you an estimate, what an estimate financial aid award would be from Emory, for example. Easiest way to get to Emory's website is go to Google, do Emory Financial Aid in the search, and you can go straight there and fill out a net price calculator there. So one quick thing too that I do want to mention ties in with the extracurricular and the financial piece is not all of you have time to do extracurriculars because you have to work. Or maybe you have to go home and take care of your younger siblings after school every day. And those are actually extracurricular activities that we want you to mention in your college applications as well. So maybe you can't be involved in sports, but you are working really hard, or you're helping babysit your younger siblings. Please mention it. So thank you very much.
That was actually, those were my next set of questions there. Someone who transferred from South Korea, grades don't look so good here, what can you do? And then someone who works part-time. I work part-time all through high school, and you don't have so much time for volunteer activities. Exactly what you said. That's really something unique about you. Everybody isn't rich and swimming in their swimming pool every day. I mean, you share your story. Your best attribute is you and how you are unique. And sharing whatever it is about your life, it's really going to be helpful. So those two questions are done. We had several questions about volunteering and students feeling lost, trying to find a way to contribute to the community. I would like to answer that question. Fill out your youth survey. At the bottom of the youth survey, we are going to try and do some youth-related leadership programs. So please give us your email address and phone number, because we'd love to work with you and really teach you some advocacy skills and talk with you in a safe space, not with your parents, although we love your parents, just the kids together, to talk about what issues matter to you. And then let's work together to really make a difference in your schools and in your communities. You are very important. You are leaders already. And we really want to foster that in you.
Could I add to the volunteer?
Yes.
I wanted to add that I know at Kennesaw, and I'm sure at Emory and the other schools, that we have Volunteer KSU, or VKSU, and not just our students are eligible to volunteer through our volunteer office. So a really good way to maybe get in good with the school of your choice would be to start volunteering at that school, get to know the people there, because all schools have volunteer offices. Go to the book drives, whatever, and get your face, get your face and name to be a little bit better known, and then you can also put that on your college applications.
And how important is it? Somebody asked real quick. How important is it to volunteer outside of your school? Because there are a lot of kids who are like, I'm part of varsity basketball and my student council and beta club, and someone asked, do you have to do it outside of school? Qualitatively, does it make a difference? Not really. But we still hope you'll sign up for the volunteer. Okay, here's another great question. Let's see. As parents, there exist stereotypes around Asian students not only in high school but also in higher education. As parents, what do we do? What do we have to do to deal with this, to overcome it? And they talk about another ethnic group that they feel help each other more. And that in graduate school, due to the Asian stereotype, they felt kind of left out. So I'm not really sure what the answer is, but do you guys have any thoughts? I mean, I'll say one thing, at least for the parents of teenagers, on the bottom of your parent survey, it's not going to be an immediate thing. I'm sorry, but we understand that parents need to come together too, like maybe even just Korean parents. We're talking about creating a parent network, not just in one high school, but Northview, Duluth, Johns Creek. We're maybe on a monthly basis. Thank you, Gloria. You guys can meet and talk together and share issues that your children may be facing, and then see what parents can do to help each other and to be advocates, not just at one school, but maybe in Duluth in general. So if you have an interest as a parent to see what you can do to make an impact in your child's education and in their schools, please give us your information, and we would love to follow up with you. But do you guys have any thoughts to this one?
Can I just add something?
Sure. Yes.
I want to share, again, a real-life experience about a student, and this is going about extracurricular activities. Last year, one of my friend's son, the friend, is a professor at a branded university and is very highly ranked, since ranking matters. His son, at a private school at Cobb, maxed the SAT. He was the first one in the state to completely max the SAT. And as far as his extracurricular activities concerned, he played horse polo. Now, the father was, and why not, was very influenced in trying to send him to a university where he would receive 100% scholarship. And the student was not in agreement of that, yet being Asian, being, holding his father in reverent light, went to Vanderbilt. And then what happened at Vanderbilt? They have a horse polo group, a horse polo club, but it's not at the same level or is not that active. So after the first quarter, he then transferred himself to Stanford, California, where he received only 70% scholarship. The reason I'm sharing this with you is, again, listen to your children. I know money matters, I know financial aid and budgets are a big issue, but what is the point of sending your child, who is a super achiever, and then not letting the child follow their passion? In this case, even though this smart kid had maxed SAT and was the valedictorian of his school, his interest was none of that. His interest was the game of horse polo. Take a point home.
All right. I think we're good because all of these speakers have been gracious enough to say they'll join you in the gym for some refreshments and some questions and answers. But I want to end with one more story from Gloria Kang. She's the president of the Korean University Student Association at Emory. And, again, bullying is a big issue. ALAC is going to try and push for stronger bullying laws in Georgia, knowing that so many Asian children are impacted. Georgia does not have a law to control cyberbullying, which is a really big problem. I'm sure every parent has a child with a cell phone. And so keep in touch with us as we move forward with that effort. We love your support. Nobody is more powerful than parents when they speak up. If they complain, everybody listens. But Gloria wanted to share a story of an incident that happened at the university setting.
Hi, my name is Gloria King. I graduated about 2 weeks ago, I guess. I'm going to be going to the University of Hawaii and Korea University to pursue Korean studies and international relations with Korea and U.S. Relations. So hopefully that'll work out. I'm not going to be a lawyer or a doctor like my parents wanted. So I guess a couple months back, we were having this intramural volleyball game at our school, and it was mostly Asian American students playing against mostly non-Asian American students, even though we did have both races in each team. And the game got really close. It was a really good game, and the mostly non-Asian group started chanting USA at us. I mean, there was comments about, speak English, things like that. I happened to have an American flag in my purse, so I pulled it out and I waved it around. But after what happened, some of the staff there told us that they couldn't do anything because they felt that it wasn't offensive. A lot of us were upset, but no one acknowledged that it was something that we should care about. Actually, that was the first event like that had ever happened to me at Emory. And when I actually went to go speak to Dean Wong, she was incredibly supportive. The administrative, everyone was supportive. Asian and non-Asian faculty all alike. We started getting emails from, the Jewish Studies Department, deans, even the principal, not principal, the president of our school, sorry, not in high school anymore. And everyone was incredibly supportive about what happened. Even the students who were a part of it came, and we had a small private meeting with them, and they apologized. There was an article that we wrote that kind of got a lot of nasty comments, but we realized that there are mean people in the world no matter what. And despite this story, I really want to encourage future applicants of Emory, because this incident only showed that we kind of had the system in place that was incredibly supportive. It actually made people more aware that there was a situation like this that could occur, whether or not everyone was offended or not. And I think it made a lot of Asian students realize that even though before they didn't have good relationships with faculty or staff, now they knew that the whole university was behind them, whether it's an Asian incident, Black incident, white incident, that we're a community that looks out for each other and is supportive of good and bad. So, I don't know what the message of this story is, but yes. Speak up if you have any issues. When I told my parents that this happened to me, the first thing they said was, "What did you do wrong?" Not meanly, but they were like worried I would get in trouble. But I think parents should just be supportive. Students know that there are people who care about you, and Emory's a great school. So.
It took a lot of bravery on Gloria's part, I know, because you get a lot of people that don't understand. But well, we hope you enjoyed it. Please, again, pick up your raffle ticket. Join us in the gym next door for refreshments. And thank you so much again for joining us.
It's so awkward.
뭘 교류 다니셔? 얼굴이네. 네? 열심히 돌아다니는데. 이게 진짜리지 뭐. 맞아. 많이 좋아졌네. 눈을 좋아지는 눈을 중에서 더 많이 고민되는 거 아닌가? 난 잘 모르겠다.
이쪽에 경지에 좀 달라고. 잠깐만요.
같이 사진 찍는. 사람도 별로 만나질 않으니까.
처음부터 지금. 그래도 왜 이렇게 힘들어요 지금?
Hi, Fleur. Mr. Fleur. Yes, photographer.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I thought you were,
yeah.
for some reason I thought you were, yeah, now I remember, yeah. He's the guy that's responsible for this. This took forever, right? That took us, what, 2 hours? Right? Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Did you make it?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. I think that was it. Isn't that it? Wasn't that what we did? I think so. Yeah. It was about 2 hours.
You know how many people they translate that one? It's just a hard to, we are very hard to, translate this, make it smoothly, right?
I know. Everybody is impressed. Did my wife cause too much trouble today? No. Didn't cause too much trouble today?
아빠